Well, students, in this class, you are going to learn some more important acts which are brought by the British government and the administration of India. So, previously we discussed the important acts which are nothing but Regulating Act, Pitt's India Act, Charter Acts, and more importantly, the acts brought by British government from 1858 to 1947 that previously we discussed so far. Now, in this video, you are going to learn some more acts brought under British rule. In that, the first one in this class, Indian Council Act. Indian Council Act 1909. Indian Council Act 1909. This act also known as Minto-Marley reforms. Minto-Marley reforms. So here Minto and Marley are the two British officials. They brought this act in the administration of India. Due to that reason, this act is known as Minto-Marley reforms. Here, Minto is a viceroy, and Marley is secretary of Indian states. Secretary of Indian states. So, as per previous acts, we know already, right? A new position is created in the administration of India, that is Viceroy instead of Governor General, and more importantly, a post created in the British Parliament, that is Secretary of Indian States. Here, Minto is a Viceroy, Marley is a Secretary of Indian States. The two are combinedly brought this act in the Indian administration. Due to that reason, this Indian Council Act 1909, also known as Minto-Marley reforms. See, the major aim of this act to be divide and rule India. This act is implemented to divide and rule India. Divide and rule India. See, previously we discussed Indian Council Act. Indian Council Act 1892. After that, Indian Council Act 1909. At that time, Minto and Marley, two important officials, they brought these reforms. Say here Minto Viceroy and Marley will be the Secretary of Indian States. So the major aim of this act will be divide and rule India. So what are the major features of this act? What are the major features? Important features of this act. Features. First one, the total number of central legislative council. Central legislative council. The total number of central legislative council members increased to 60 from 16. Means the total number of seats in the central legislative council increased from 16 to 60. Before implementation of Indian Council Act 1909, 16 seats are there. After implementing this act, the 16 will be increased until 60 members in the Central Legislative Council. So now, second important feature. The total number of seats also increased in Regional Legislative Council. Regional Legislative Council. Regional Legislative Council members also increased. means representation is increased in the central legislature and the representation will also increased in the regional legislative council. Central legislative council and the second one will be the regional legislative council. Legislative council is nothing but upper house. So in the legislative council, the total number of representation for Indians increased in the central level as well as the regional level. Okay. Third one. At a regional level, representation at a regional level, representation given through election first time. So in the previous point we discussed that regional legislative council numbers also increased, right? In the regional level legislative council, representation to the people is given on the basis of election. First time to give representation in the regional council, elections are conducted. And finally, one more important feature of this act. In order to give special representation to the Muslims, a separate electoral college established for Muslims. I hope you are very clear, right? A separate electoral college. So in order to give a special representation to whom? Muslims, a separate electoral college that was started only for Muslims. That is the reason why. Now before we discussing the features of this act, I told the major aim of Indian Council Act 1909, it is nothing but divide and rule India. So Britishers want to divide the integrity of both Muslims as well as Hindus. That is the reason why here the point, a separate electoral college started only for Muslims. So again I will repeat the features. The first one, the total number of seats in central legislature increased to 60 from 16. In the same manner, regional legislative council numbers also increased. And at a regional level, representation will be given through by conducting elections first time, and more importantly to give a separate representation to the Muslims, a separate electoral college started only for Muslims. Electoral college means nothing but the elected members from the community Muslims. So these are the important features of Indian Council Act 1909. What is the another name of Indian Council Act 1909? Which is nothing but Minto-Marley reforms. Who is Minto? Is a Viceroy of India, and who is Marley? Is a Secretary of Indian States in the British Parliament. So the major aim of Indian Council Act 1909, which is nothing but divide and rule in India. And also we discussed important features of Indian Council Act 1909. Okay students, after we discussed about the act Indian Council Act 1909, another important act which brought by British people in India, which is nothing but Indian Council Act. Indian Council Act 1919, very important act. Indian Council Act 1919. This act also known as Montague-Chelmsford reforms. Montague-Chelmsford reforms. Another name of Indian Council Act 1919, which is nothing but Montague-Chelmsford reforms. Here, Chelmsford is a viceroy. and Montague is Secretary of States in India. Secretary of States in India. Montague is Secretary of States in India. Chelmsford is Viceroy. They both together brought this reform. That is the reason why it is known as Indian Council Act 1919. Okay. So what is the backdrop of this act? Indians are actively participated in the First World War. First World War duration. First World War. Indians are actively participated in the First World War behalf of British. First World War duration what? 1914 to 1918. This act when it was came into force 1919 means after the end of First World War itself this act implemented in India. So Indians are actively participated in the First World War by supporting British. That is the reason why Montague is a person arguing in the British government in the favor of Indians. I hope you are very clear, right? Why Montague is in favor of Indians? Because Indians are actively participated in the First World War. Due to this reason, Montague is arguing in the British Parliament in favor of Indians. And also Montague is in favor of forming our own government by the Indians. Montague also in favor of to form own government, self-government by the Indians. And more importantly, Chelmsford is a viceroy at that time. Is argued in the British Parliament in favor of Indians, and he brought some act. He brought this act in the British Parliament on 28 1917. 28 1917. On 28 1917, this act, the reformations by the Chelmsford, they are kept in front of British government on 28 1917. So based upon these arguments, Indian Council Act 1919 implemented in India. See here, who is Montague? He is the Secretary of Indian States. Why is arguing in favor of Indians? Because Indians are actively participated in the First World War by supporting British people, and also he is in favor of Indians by forming our own government by ourselves. That is also known as self-government. Now, what are the important features? What are the important features of this act? Important features of this act. So, this act formulated bicameral legislature. Very, very important point. So, Indian Council Act 1919 or Montague-Chelmsford reforms formulated bicameral legislature. What is bicameral legislature? A legislature having two houses. A legislature having two houses, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So 1919 Act formulation of bicameral legislature. Bicameral legislature. What is bicameral legislature? A legislature having two houses, that is bicameral legislature. If the legislature having only one house, that is known as unicameral legislature. And second important feature, diarchy. Diarchy started at regional level. Diarchy started at a regional level. What is diarchy? Ruled by the two people. rule by the two people. Rule by the two people or two authorities, that is known as diarchy. Diarchy, so you can say that ruling by the Indians, ruling by the British. Diarchy started at a regional level. What is the meaning of the word diarchy, children? Here diarchy means rule by the two people or two authorities, that is known as diarchy. Now third one, an high commissioner. An high commissioner appointed. An high commissioner appointed. A new post is created by 1919 Act, that is an high commissioner appointed. Next, promise given to improve local self-government. So British government promised the Indians to improve local self-government. What is local self-government here? Local self-government is nothing but here we can say that the government in district level, taluk level, village level. You can say that district, Jilla Panchayat, Taluk Panchayat and Gram Panchayat. These three are known as local self-government. So promise made by the British government to Indians to improve local self-government. And provincial budget. Provincial budget separated from central budget. Provincial means it will be the regional budget is separated from the central budget. Now example, at present you can see central budget is different, state budget is different. In the same manner, under the Indian Council Act 1919, provincial budget is separated from the central budget as per Indian Council Act 1919. Next, finally, in the previous act we discussed, right, a separate electoral college started for Muslims. Now extension of that point, electoral college started for Muslims. Electoral college started for Muslim, Sikh, Anglo-Indians, Europeans. So previously, Indian Council Act 1909, a separate electoral college only for Muslims, right? That is extended in this act to the Sikhs, Anglo-Indians and the remaining Europeans. Means whoever the minority religion people are there, for all those minority religion people, this separate electoral college will be started. So with these implementations, Indian Council Act 1919 is very important. See, what is the first feature, students, here? This act formulated bicameral legislature. I told you already, bicameral means a house will be legislature having two houses. Next point, diarchy started at a regional level. Diarchy means rule by the two people or two authorities, that is diarchy. And an high commissioner appointed. One high commissioner is appointed in India, and a provincial promise given to improve local self-government. What is local self-government? Here, Jilla Panchayat, Taluk Panchayat and Gram Panchayat. Provincial budget is separated from central budget. And finally, the separate electoral college, it is extended along with Muslims to Sikh, Anglo-Indians and remaining European. This is all about Indian Council Act 1919. This is the backdrop of First World War takes place in the year 1914 to 1918. This act formulated by two important British officials, Montague and Chelmsford. Montague is Secretary of Indian States. Chelmsford is a Viceroy. So this is the information all about Indian Council Act 1919. Students, now let us discuss a milestone Indian Government Act which is brought by Britishers in the year 1935. That is Indian Government Act. Indian Government Act 1935. Indian Government Act 1935. This act we can consider as one of the milestone act in Indian administration. Why? Because means this act is the base for formation of Indian Constitution. Formation of Indian Constitution. Formation of Indian Constitution. Why? Because means most of the provisions in our constitution that is taken from the Indian Government Act 1935. Already in the 9th standard you have studied, right? So our constitution will be made by using different sources. It may be a constitution of other countries or whatever it may be, and most of the provisions in our constitutions that we are taken from Indian Government Act 1935. That is the reason why Indian Government Act 1935, it is a base for Indian Constitution, formation of Indian Constitution. Then what is the base for this act? There is a one base for Indian Government Act 1935, which is nothing but Motilal Nehru. Motilal Nehru report. Motilal Nehru report on 1928. Motilal Nehru report on 1928. The information regarding this Nehru report you will get in the coming lessons. So Motilal Nehru report submitted in the year 1928. It is a major base for Indian Government Act 1935. This act is very important. Why? Because means this act is allowed Indians to form our own government. This act is allowing Indians to form our own government. To form our own government. We can say that self-government, self-rule. Ruling not by the British, ruling by the Indians. This act is allowed the Indians to form own government. That is the reason why this act is very important. Again I will say one of the important act in the British brought by British in Indian administration, that is Indian Government Act 1935. This act is very important base for the Indian Constitution. Why? Because it means most of the provisions in our constitutions that we are adopted from Indian Government Act 1935. Then what is the base for this act? Motilal Nehru report. Actually before 1928, British government posed a challenge to the Indian leaders to frame own draft copy of constitution. At that time, Motilal Nehru accepted that challenge and he framed one draft copy of constitution. That is appreciated by the British government as well as appreciated by the Mahatma Gandhi ji. That draft copy prepared by the Motilal Nehru in the year 1928. That is the base for Indian Government Act 1935. So now we will discuss what are the major features of Indian Government Act 1935. The main important features. First one, federal system, federal government started in Indian principalities and British regions, and also dominant status. Federal government means two types of governments. Now you can see we are following federal government, central government as well as the state government. In the same manner, as per 1935 Act, federal government started where in Indian principalities, British regions. At that time, provincial Indian principalities are there, princely states, as well as British regions also there. In the British regions and Indian principalities, federal government will be implemented. Federal government means two governments. Next, very important, Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India established as per Indian Government Act 1935. Reserve Bank of India established in the year 1935. As per this act itself, RBI is established. Now, Daihatsu implemented. Daihatsu implemented at central. Daihatsu implemented at central, and Daihatsu cancelled. Daihatsu cancelled at regional level. In the previous, as per Indian Council Act 1919, Daihatsu implemented both central and regional. But as per 1935 Act, Daihatsu implemented only at central and Daihatsu cancelled at a regional level. So now here federal form of government, Reserve Bank of India established, Daihatsu implemented at central and Daihatsu cancelled at a regional level. So Daihatsu cancelled at a regional level. And more importantly, one more important feature of this act, federal court. Started. Federal means two, Supreme Court as well as High Court. In the same manner, at the time of that act, federal court types will be started. So with this implementations only, Indian Government Act 1935 takes an important milestone act in the Indian administration. See, federal government is started in the Indian principalities and the British region, and dominant status also given. Dominant means like a special status. And Reserve Bank of India established. Daihatsu implemented at central and Daihatsu cancelled at a regional level, and federal court will be established. So these are the important provisions under Indian Government Act 1935. See, which act is the base for formation of Indian Constitution means you have to write Indian Government Act 1935. So, my dear children, these are the important features of Indian Government Act 1935. Students, let me give you the conclusion about the acts implemented by the British in India. First of all, constitutional development, right? So now, first one, acts implemented during East India Company. And we can classify acts implemented during British government. Acts implemented during East India Company. What are the acts we discussed? Regulating Act 1773, Next, Pitt's India Act 1784 and Charter Acts 1793, 1813, 1833, 1853. These are the acts implemented during the rule of East India Company. Regulating Act, Pitt's India Act, Charter Acts 1793, 1813, 1833, 1853. We discussed only 1813 and 1833. Now, the acts implemented during British rule. So, British Government Act 1858 and Indian Council Act 1861. Next, Indian Council Act 1892. Next, Indian Council Act 1909. This act also known as Minto-Marley reforms. Indian Council Act 1919, and finally which act? Indian Government Act 1935. So you will get a clear-cut idea about the acts implemented by the British people in the Indian administration. You can classify it into two, right? Acts implemented during East India Company, acts implemented during British rule. During British rule, British Government Act 1858, Indian Council Act 1861, Indian Council Act 1892, Indian Council Act 1909, Indian Council Act 1919, and finally Indian Government Act 1935. So this is the basic structure of the constitutional development takes place in India. So students, so far we discussed the acts implemented by the British people, right? The acts implemented by the British people, right? Now, why these acts are implemented? All the developments why takes place? All the developments are takes place, that is only due to because of the struggles led by the Indian leaders. So, due to the struggles led by the Indian leaders against the British government, that thing realized the British people to implement some acts which are in favor of Indians. The result itself, the implementation of these acts. So, students, this is all about the lesson. What we can say that the impact of British rule in India. In that, several things we discussed, and finally we are concluded this lesson with the acts implemented by the Britishers in the administration. So this is all about the today class. With this class, we successfully completed the lesson number 3, the impact of British rule in India. So thank you students. Have a nice day.